Hello and good evening. Welcome to Front Row Racing World Championship for round 14, the Japanese Grand Prix. With me in commentary box this evening we've got James Hulkenberg. I shall come to you in a moment because I forgot to introduce myself. I am Front Row Racing GP, also known as Stevie Sherbets. So how are you, Mr. James Hulkenberger?
Yeah, not too bad. A bit tanned, but yeah, apart from that, I've done my back in. It's all good.
Good. So you've had a nice little trip away. How was the missus?
Oh yeah, no, she's good. It's all good.
It's all good. But you're glad to be back home?
Yeah, sort of. The weather's a bit depressing, but yeah, it's good.
So, what did you think of DP's race in Japan last week?
Oh, it were amazing. I've got to say, how he carved through the field.
So just for anyone that didn't know, that was a question that James, just before we came on air, asked how DP got on in Japan last week, whereas this week we are at Japan. So yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, yeah. Back to the viewers. Everybody's thinking, what a blooming donut when it says custom lobby, Japan.
Yeah. Right, well, I'll tell you what, we are getting very close to half past, so I'm very quickly going to run through last week's results and also the standing order for the championship standings. So yeah, last week was Singapore. The winner was Temp Fear. Second place Kev 187. Third is Hammer Time 44. Fourth Front Racing DP. Fifth Konzo 1993. Sixth GT5 King. 7th Overdyking, 8th Joe Finn, 9th Mornay, 10th Killer Corkin, 11th Dan Evs, 12th Bartman. These are a lot of DNFs on here. Sorry, all the way down from 9th. Mornay was a DNF. So Mornay, Killer, Dan, Bartman, and Jamie James, all DNFs. And Driver of the Day, Temp Fear, and Team of the Day, Team Freedom McLaren Honda. Some good points scored by their team. So yeah, a lot of non-finishers at Singapore. Driver standings though, this is how tight this is. Listen to this. Are you ready, James?
Yep.
Temp Fear on the top. 201 points.
Yeah.
Kev 187. 200 points. 1 point between them. And then you've got Front Racing DP 173. Overdyking 142, Jamie James 140, Konzo 72, GT5 King 67, Bartman 50, It's Hammer Time 35, Danevs 28, Killer Corkin on 25, Jason on 13, Joey Finn on 7 and Mornay on 5. Now as it is half past and I've not had time to do a lot of things, and I'll run through them as we're loading up, so if we can actually, everyone can click go, and then I shall run through what I can. So teams, let's just quickly run through who is in what team. So for Flaming Dragons Mercedes, Dan Evs and Temp Fear. Then we've got Rising Lads of Bartman and It's Hammer Time. Then Sensen, Williams, Killer Corkin and Jason. Then up the line Ferrari of Overdyking and Jamie James. Team Freedom of GT5 King and Konzo. Then we've got Mornay and Joe Finn for Landmark Racing, and we are without Kev 187 for Mode Red. Mana Marusha is not in his car, he's not in the lobby. We are a player short, so it looks like we may be without Kev 187 this evening. But there is Front Racing DP, he is in his car, so yeah.
Yeah, so the standings are looking pretty close, but the front two, Temp Fear and Kev, they've got a decent gap. But if all the other drivers bag them points and Kev gets nothing, it's going to throw him straight back into the pack for the title.
It is, and
Temp's probably got the best buffer here is Temp Fear.
Well, yeah, I mean, Temp Fear scores any points and is just extending that lead, obviously, without Kev 187 being in there. Now, he has had an invite sent to him, so he might join us through qualifying. But, yeah, I mean, Temp Fear's pre-race comments were just straightforward and simple: beat Kev. And he may already have done that. Now, something you may not be aware of, James, was something we started a few weeks back, which was question of the day.
I have been listening in.
You have been listening in?
Some of them. Yeah. How about all my suggestions were stupid, so I didn't bother.
Well, here we are anyway for the qualifying for the World Championship at Japan. I will come to question of the day in a moment. I wanted to see the weather. It looks dry. So as the cars prepare themselves for the qualifying, I'm going to ask this question of the day. Alright, Annie. To promote overtaking, should DRS be allowed to be used anytime when you are within 1 second of the car ahead? What do you reckon?
No, it'd be too easy. I think to promote overtaking, just reduce rear downforce.
Well, that's what doing the DRS does, opens it up, isn't it?
yeah, but once you've got a car with open and a car without DRS open, it's a bit too easy.
Yeah, also, but if it was available, then you could have the situation where drivers may try and use it on corners when it may not be safe to. But
yeah.
So just to go on that question then, if anybody's listening, what would you want to do to promote overtaking in F1? What would you think that would help overtaking in F1 other than what I've just suggested? So make a comment and I'll try and read them out as we go along. So yeah, my brain's just gone blank for a minute. We are at Japan and we have got a car on circuit and it is Mornay 77. So have you had your little sip of water and ready to do some commentating?
Yeah, I've got my lemonade. We're all sorted. There we go.
So Mornay is on his out lap. He's just gone around the hairpin, heading out up to the Spoon corner. I have wrote down here some potential lap times. With the conditions looking pretty good, we are expecting a lap time to be in the low 33s or maybe squeezing into a 32. All depends on whether the drivers can absolutely nail that lap, but without Kev being here in this qualifying, it'd be interesting to see if the driver does get there, because that was the time that I've seen Kev 187 set last season.
So we've got Mornay just coming up to the final corner now, and here we go. Let's see what his car looks like from our view, bombing down towards turn 1. Do we happen to know a random lap time for what we're looking for?
Well, I would expect a lap time from Mornay here to be probably in the 34s. Low 34 would be good for Mornay. I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually a 35. Very difficult to keep it within the limits, but his first sector we are looking for something in the 33s. The lower the better, obviously. Low 33s is possible.
Looks like struggling in sector 1.
It's coming up to the sector line.
Understeer through there. Yeah, a lot of understeer through there.
I'm just wondering, the temperature looks quite high, and it might just actually be having a bit of an adverse effect on the tyres, overheating them a little bit. But yeah, that was a 35.8 for sector 1. Sector 2 is a very long sector, and that's really where it's going to tell how well his lap's doing, because we're expecting sector 2s to be in the 42s, mid 42 to a high 42, and I wouldn't be surprised here with Mornay, the way we've seen this lap go, whether he's just trying to put a banker on the board, and this might be in the 43s or 44s.
It looks like he's got a lot of through the fast corners, it looks like he's got a lot of understeer, but then in the slow corners it looks like the rear end is not very user friendly. It looks very snappy in the slow speed. This
looks like it might be a 36, a 136 sort of lap time. We're looking for in the 16s for this last sector, and I'm not sure whether he's going to quite get that. It's a 17.5, so a 37.9. I'm wondering whether he may have backed out of that on that lap and just to set himself up for another one, but we'll leave him be for now, and we'll see who else we can find out on circuit. Oh, while we're looking,
Killer Cork and just heading through turn 1, and he seems like he's got a lot of oversteer in turn 1, complete opposite to Mornay. It's got quite a nice line actually through sector 1 so far. See how he is through. Oh, actually hesitating on the throttle there, not 100% committed, so needs time to find definitely a lot of understeer there, and he's up into the gravel, it looks like. Just keeping control of it, but it looks like a handful that for Killer.
It looks like he might have bailed out of that lap. He's not on it as much as he would wanted to have been. Just to point out at this point, Front Racing DP has a qualifying ban because of causing an incident at the first corner from the previous race. So we won't see Front Racing DP out on circuit.
Oh.
So there we go.
Well, as we can see, it can happen to absolutely anyone.
Yep. And at the moment, Mornay is the guy on provisional pole with that 1:37.9. There's not many guys out there that... I say there's not many guys out there, but Jamie James has just done a lap.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, on board with Bartman.
Oh, understeer City through turn 1. Absolutely, must have lost at least 3 or 4 tenths there, just waiting for the front end to turn.
It looks like there's not enough rubber on the track yet.
Yeah, we could see times tumbling. I know that Temp Fear is on his out lap, so he's one to watch, especially for pole position. But yeah, Bartman doesn't.
I think Bartman's time has been... No, it's not. I thought it had been invalidated because it froze, but it froze at the sector point. It froze at the 34.7 on the sector point. But I mean, that is a second quicker than what Mornay did, but it's still not as fast as what we're looking for. But it might be fast enough, or with the likes of DP starting at the back and Kev187 not being in the lobby. So how's he handling round spoon? Not too much understeer, hitting the apex on the exit apex, as I call it, and yeah, nicely done round spoon, so not too bad. I think he's got his tyres to the temperature he wants them at, and yeah, not too bad in the speed trap. 42.7, that's a nice sector for sector 2. This is more going to be a representative time than what we saw of Mornay's, so let's see what he can do with this. A bit wobbly around that last corner.
On the power, the rear end's wanted to overtake the front end there for Bartman. He's gone P1
with 34.4.
Yeah,
yeah, it is. I mean, his last sector, there's a couple of tenths to find there, but we did see his rear end wiggling. So yes, he's gone provisional pole, but it is beatable. Where's Temp Fear? He's done his first sector. His first sector was slow. Yeah.
Right, his teammate Bartman, not Bartman, Dan Evans, he is currently in sector 1 and he's not looking too shabby. We'll see what his sector 1 is.
He's sitting currently provisional second place.
35.6 sector 1.
Yeah, the time just doesn't seem to be there. Well, while we've got a little bit of a time, we'll just watch Dan Evans to that next sector point, unless we see something else out on circuit worth watching. I'm going to very quickly just run through some driver comments, because there's some quite interesting ones here. We mentioned about Temp Fear earlier on. He just wants to beat Kev187. Dan Evans, though, his was very interesting. When we spoke to him in the media room, he said, "I've just found out that it's buy one get one free for the women over here."
Over here? Where is it?
Japan. Yeah, so there we go.
Sure it's not in Russia?
Yeah, so Connor says he's feeling a little bit under the weather since yesterday, hoping to finish about 7th, but above would be my target. Yeah, so that's understandable. Over Dykink, haven't done many laps on this track because I was on holiday. Still confident though, I'm going to get revenge for last season. Ferrari comeback is on. Dan Evans has gone into the pits. Who else have we got out there? Anybody else on a lap? It doesn't look like we have. Oh, thought we did see GT5 King is on one, so we'll jump on board, see how he does. Let's find his pre-race comments. He said, hoping for another strong finish like Singapore for the team. It's going to be a tricky one with a rain potential developing for this season as we speak. Oh, session as we speak, not season. God knows what I'll do, but I'll be on the grid. Jamie James was an interesting comment. His comment was straightforward, simple. It just says, beat Dom to 4th place in the league. Also, I hate this track. Yeah. So, GT5 King, his time, is that frozen because it was the Sector 2 sector? Yes, it was. Not too bad Sector 1 and 2 compared to the other drivers we've seen in those sectors. Looking probably about a 4th or a 5th on the grid with the time I think he's going to set here, and it's going to be a 3rd. Not too bad then. There's a lot of time still to be found out there on the circuit.
Yeah,
Konzo's on one. Sorry, yeah, go on.
The drivers' comments, they all sound pretty confident. There's only James who's saying he's not enjoying the circuit.
Yeah, that's right.
I do find though that this circuit, it's very much like Monaco, not in terms of layout, but in terms of a lot of drivers can hate it. But once you find a rhythm around this circuit, it becomes quite nice, especially in Sector 1 when you hook it up.
I'm just watching Duo Finn. I've noticed he's starting, or I say starting, he's qualifying on the prime tyres. And looking at the sector times he's set, they're not too bad, so he'll probably find himself in the middle of the grid with the time he's going to be setting here. That's 7th place. Now last season, last season he did a 2-stop race and came 5th. There was only one other driver that did a 2-stop race, and that was the race winner, Kev. So maybe the 2-stop is the way to go. Just quick look further through. Front of Racing DP's comments. Got a penalty from last race, take it on the chin. I didn't appeal it, I never do. Love this track, but like Spain, never had much success here. We'll see what I can do from last place. So anywhere he finishes ahead of last will be an improvement, I suppose, from where he started. So there we are. I'll just have a look back up at the top of this table. Over Dykink's been out, he's been a set of 134.2. It looks like he's on an in lap.
His Ferrari revenge seems to be lighting up the timing screens as he's gone P1. To say he hasn't had much practice, it's not bad.
Not bad at all, and there's a few drivers out there that will be looking to beat that time, and I'm just looking down for Temp Fear to see where he is. He is out on circuit, he is in Sector 1, but I think he may have just had his time invalidated because it froze just as we came to him, unfortunately. And he is the sort of guy that can stick it on pole position and run away with a race. And he's going to be wanting to be up there at the front of the grid, but he's only got 6 minutes. Has he got enough fuel on board to do another lap? Has he got enough time to get in and get back out again?
Yeah, he needs to just go for a banker, because it's not worth starting at the back. It's this circuit, like I say, it's very much like Monaco. In terms of Sector 1, it's pretty much, unless somebody's got ridiculously bad tyre wear, there's no way through Sector 1.
Yeah, it is very much, even though it's a wide circuit, very much single file, because you go from left to right to left to right, apex to apex, and it's very difficult to get your car alongside without that other car, shall we say, making contact. So Temp Fear does look like he's going to wind himself up for another run. I want to keep on board here with Temp Fear because I want to see him do his hot lap, because he is a guy that can set some purples. Just looking through for Temp Fear's comments, and I don't see where I've put them. I know I received them.
He's just jumped straight back into the pit lane.
Maybe he didn't have enough fuel on board then. Maybe. Oh no, Temp Fear. I read it at the start. It was just beat Kev. That's all he had planned. I'll tell you what though, the title's getting tight. He's got to be careful of the others that are out there.
Yeah, all it takes is one DNF or somebody making a silly mistake and your wheel going flying, and that massive advantage you've got is just down the drain.
Exactly. It's hammer time. He's also rolling into the pits. He's sitting currently in P2. There's quite a few drivers that haven't set times yet. Konzo hasn't set a time. Front Racing DP is not able to set a time because he's got a qualifying ban. Temp Fear and Yarson. I wouldn't be surprised if Yarson doesn't qualify, because it might be within his strategy to actually start with fresh rubber. But there's something he might learn from me, but I won't say what.
One driver I haven't had the privilege of commentating on is Hammer Time. Now, is there any sort of Is there anything that you need me to watch out for with him? Is he?
Well, he's an interesting
driver,
lad.
Is he?
He's fast enough to win races, and he's a pad user. But well, about 3 weeks ago he bought a wheel, and he's been practicing trying to get up to pace, but struggling to get up to his pad pace. So if I read out his pre-race comments, perfect timing for you to ask this, because what he says here will answer a bit of what I've just said. Was planning on using the wheel, but my teammate won't let me. He wants to maximise the points for the team. Looks like I'll have to work extra hard for next week. So he wants to use the wheel, but he knows he's not quite up to pace on it yet. And he has got the pace to be at the front. He could be a future race winner, but he has just changed over onto wheel. Now for this race, he could be on the pad, he could be on the wheel, I don't know, we're going to have to see. But the message here does say his teammate has told him to be on a pad. So what will he do? I mean, what would you do if your teammate said to you, no, use your pad after you've just spent a few £100 on a wheel and a stand?
I'd say, who are you, my mum?
Yeah, exactly. And who is his teammate? His teammate would be Bartman. Oh yeah, don't listen to anything he says to you. No. Especially when Bartman was asked for his pre-race comments and he said, nope.
Yeah, it is strange though. I mean, there's a lot of drivers out there that have gone and put the purchase down for a decent wheel, and a lot of them don't seem to be using them. Yeah. One driver I'm got the full respect for is Konzo, because he's doing his learning through this season.
Yeah, and Killer Corkin has stuck it out with the wheel. I don't know if the last race you was with us before you went away for your holiday, he might have been on the pad at that point, but I think now he's, for about 3 or 4 races, he's been on the wheel, and he's been getting better and better. So if you took the likes of It's Hammer Time and put him towards the rear of the grid, you've got some great drivers on wheels there. They would have a great race with. Joey Finn has set a lap time. It looks like it was that prime time of the 1:39.0. I'm just looking down. At the moment we've got 10 people.
Finally on his flying lap, and he's going through sector 1.
Let's go and have a look. Let's try not to curse him.
Hesitating slightly on the throttle.
He's in a difficult situation now, isn't he? Because he's got this and this only to do. It's either now or never. He's
sort of cocked up that section.
Yeah, it ran a little bit wide. It's not stopped his time, and it is in the front row racing rules to be a lenient wide, because there is the gravel there that you could end up in. So in the front row racing steward's guide, it does say that corner is a lenient exit.
Coming up to my probably least favourite corner, Spoon. I always tend to have a bit of understeer through here, no matter how much downforce I add, and never 100% through that section. The only time you feel good is when you're coming up behind somebody who's on used tyres.
Yeah, I mean, following anybody there. Yeah. He's in the 42s, but I don't think it's a good enough 42. It's not going to be good enough.
I think if he's in top 5, he'll be happy.
Yeah, but he should have been on pole, and we can't see what it's finished on. Overdyking has just gone quicker though, with a 34.2. Who else do we have out on circuit? We've got Mornay out on circuit. Joey Finn is on another set of primes. Overdyking, I think, has...
Hammer Time is coming up to the final chicane.
He is.
I've no clue what his lap's been like.
I think he stayed second. P2. And his teammate is currently sat in P3.
No. He just had a swapper on through under the bridge. Now it's been dry, and that one thing I forgot to check was the weather forecast for later on.
I did just have a little sneaky look back at it, and it does look like we may have a dry event all the way through. Now, if any race engineers out there hear anything different, please message us on our YouTube messages on our live stream there, because I will be having a look from time to time and trying to keep up to date with any messages that do get posted on there. And don't forget about our question of the day: what would you do to improve overtaking? My suggestion would be allow drivers to use DRS whenever they want, when they are within 1 second of a car ahead of them. So there we go. Bartman just coming towards the end of a lap. Is he on a good one? Is he on a bad one? Is he going to put it in the pits? He's not going for the pits. Currently in third, and stays third. So I believe that to be qualifying complete. Just going to have a quick look through some of the other driver comments, make sure I've not missed any. Killer Corkin, oh, he was looking forward to Hammer Time being on a wheel, because he was expecting a good battle at the back there with him. Doesn't look like he's going to be on a wheel though, unfortunately. Jason's comment: I haven't been practicing yet. I was going to catch a few laps now before the start, so I have no expectations at all. Maybe skip the quali and start from the back. So there we go, Ivor Dyking on pole. Yeah, so looking through the order there, this is where Jason, he will be starting behind us, and he'll be starting. Yeah, he would have been better off just doing a rolling lap on the prime tyres. Yeah. Just to get a banker in and be there ahead of us, or if he wants to start on the options, just do a rolling lap or do an out and an in, and it'll get you there in a better position. But those times, I think it might have been the temperature being a bit high. I mean, Ivor Dyking did improve again with a 34.0, but I was expecting those 33s. But, well, they can only drive to the conditions they've got. So what's your
to say that Tempfier's all 8/10 off pole, he'll be happy to be in P4.
Yeah, I mean he was under the cosh there. Pressure was on him. He had one lap to do it on, and yeah, that's why sometimes those first laps you go out, you might be better off just getting a banker and then putting, so there's no pressure on you. So time's come then. World Championship, round 14, the Japanese Grand Prix. What's your predictions then, James?
I think we're going to see DP have an epic comeback. He's had plenty of first corner incidents this season.
Not all of them his fault.
yeah. With him starting at the back, maybe, and we do know that down at turn 1, especially with Senna Prost, anything can happen down at turn 1, and he could snatch a fair few places through turn 1.
Yep, he definitely could, and he is the sort of driver that may do that. Now, unfortunately, last season he was caught out into turn 1. He was involved in an incident here with Ivor Dyking into turn 1. At least he's a long way away from Ivor Dyking into turn 1 this season. Just having a look at the strategy, and it says here 3 stops. Well, we know that 2 stops is possible. We know that 4 stops is also very possible. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if 3 stops is what most people go for. So I do have a Williams behind me, so I will be trying to move out of the way. But the time has come for the Japanese Grand Prix, and the drivers are go. Oh, I'm not. There we are. I am now. So they head down into turn 1. They're going to be 3 or 4 wide into turn 1. And it looks like it's Hammer Time has got Ivor Dyking into turn 1 straight away. Yeah. Well done by it's Hammer Time.
In front. And it looks like DP's only made up 2 places. It's better than nothing so far.
I mean, the DP has a bit of an advantage here, where he's got no teammate on the circuit. He can pit whenever he wants, not have to worry about whether his teammate is going to be in the pits or not. The problem is he would have been wanting Kev 187 to be taking points off every car that's ahead of him, because if DP can't win the championship, he would have wanted his teammate to.
And DP's got a right gaggle in front of him. He's got Marne, Konzo heading into the hairpin. Konzo's gone tight on the apex. DP's giving him a bit of a love tap, saying, come on, let's get on with it. Konzo looks to have not very good top line speed. DP must have gone a lot less wing, because he just breezed straight past Konzo on acceleration there.
And the slipstream round here is absolutely mighty, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him going past Morney very soon. I know we normally keep an eye on the guys up at the front, but it's not very often we see overtaking like this from the guys at the back, and that's because DP's not often there. But what an overtake!
Jamie James absolutely shoving Bartman out to dry at the apex there.
Oh.
And 10th Fear's had a cracking run and he's up into P2.
I think just as I was coming to watch that on Jamie James, I think someone might have had a little move back at front row racing DP. I'm not sure whether there was contact there or not, but it looked like it was very close. I think DP lost a few places. He's back behind Konzo.
Yeah,
it looks like Mornay may have gone for a re-overtake into the chicane.
Yeah, there's a massive gap from P7 GT5 King down to P8, but these top 7 are all within about 2 or 3 seconds.
At the moment, though, it's hammer time. He's opening up a gap from Temp Fear, who's now sat in 2nd place, over Dykink in 3rd, Jamie James in 4th, and it's hammer time. Couldn't be wished for a better start to a race than this. It is a circuit he does like, and it was one that he wasn't looking forward to doing on the wheel. And I think he just basically wants a little bit of glory before he goes onto the wheel, which I can't blame him.
No, Jamie James is looking strong here. Over Dykink's got a lot of understeer through Spoon. Jamie James is closing in. Now we're going to see the Ferraris do battle round 130R. Yeah, a lot more grip for Jamie James.
And it looks like those two Ferraris may be running opposite strategies. One might be on lower wing, one might be on higher wing. Split what they do. Might also split their pit stops. But Bartman's quite close behind Jamie James as well.
Yeah, Jamie James, he'll be giving the hurry up, saying, you know, I've got Bartman all of my rear wing. I'm going to have to make the move. He won't want to be sneaky. He'll want it to be as clean as possible.
He will.
Temp Fear's in prime position now. He needs to stop thinking about over Dykink and needs to start thinking about getting on with the lead of this race, because he's had a cracking start.
Yeah, I was just thinking, with Temp Fear, does he worry about what It's Hammer Time's doing ahead of him? Because It's Hammer Time is nowhere in the championship, because he came into the season late, taking over from Stocky's seat in the Red Bulls team. So
we've got Bartman going for a move for P4 on the inside of Jamie James.
This could get very interesting towards Spoon.
Yeah, all about traction. Jamie James making his Ferrari as wide as possible. He's got to leave a car's width, almost squeezed Bartman off circuit there, and they've both gone off at Spoon. And Bartman is absolutely hurrying Jamie James, and this is what we're talking about. Jamie James was clearly quicker than over Dykink on the previous lap, and now he's paying for it because he's got Bartman snapping at his heels. But Bartman's going to have to do a lift here because he's just gone all 4 wheels off circuit. Jamie James, it's got too close for comfort.
I think James is going to have to be careful here, because if this deems him to be reversing back onto the circuit or driving the wrong way, the game doesn't like it. But that's now put him all the way back down into 8th position.
No, that's unfortunate for Jamie James, but it's always that position when 2 drivers go side by side in a chicane. It's always risky.
It is. So looking back up at the front, just want to keep an eye on the gap between It's Hammer Time and Temp Fear. It's just under 2 seconds currently to Temp Fear. Yeah, if I was Temp Fear, I wouldn't be worried about the guy in the lead. Let him run away if he wants to, run his own race, because everyone he needs to beat is behind him.
I think the closest battle is over Dykink and Temp Fear at the moment. And apologies, viewers, if I lose my voice halfway through this, as I almost did a minute ago.
They might be grateful for
it. Most people are. But yeah, all that hard work from Jamie James just gone absolutely down the Swanee.
That's not helped him at all. Not one little bit.
No. Over Dykink needs to get this move done, but in terms of straight line speed, he's only gaining a couple of miles an hour, and that's all he needs. He's running through 130. Yeah, Temp Fear's just going defensive, leaving the car's width on the exit.
Something that is worth mentioning about these two drivers in practice sessions this week.
Up the inside.
They were side by side into that hairpin on many a times in practice sessions, And unfortunately, they had Cummins together in practice sessions as well. But it's nice to see they kept it clean on this lap.
Oh, the Dykink's gone a touch wide there. But I think over Dykink. I mean, he's a bloody quick driver, is over Dykink, but I think the lack of practice is showing up because Temp Fear is sticking to him like glue at the moment, even through the fast sector 1.
It doesn't look like he's got any dirtier understeer really. Maybe a little bit there, but not too much at all.
I think he just outbraked himself there, did Temp Fear. I think it's just frustration setting in. Temp really needed to make sure there were no mistakes, and he should have made his Mercedes as wide as possible, a bit like what Jeremy Jones was doing earlier. But if we're going to see a battle, we need to see how they do hunting down.
It's hammer time. Yeah. I'm just thinking about it's hammer time, and also these top drivers here at the front, these top 3. Lap 5, could they pit lap 5? I think that might be the earliest point you'd want to pit if you were going to try and do an undercut. If you were doing a 3-stop, then lap 5 or 6. If you were planning on doing a 2-stop, you're going to try and take it to about 7 or 8. So it'd be interesting to see if we do have anyone in the pit lane. Nobody in the pit lane of the top 3 just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do see them soon. So just a quick reminder of the question of the day to the guys that are watching live on YouTube. If you could change something in Formula 1 to promote overtaking, to help with overtaking, what would you do? My idea was allow the drivers to use the DRS anytime, as long as they are within 1 second of the car ahead.
I would like to see the cars with a bit of ground effect. That'd probably help as well.
Yeah, I mean, things like that it's kind of like, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not fuel burning. It's not, you know, it's free. Same with the DRS. You open it, you go faster. It's okay. It's got a mechanical bit to it, but it's free. It's just reducing the drag. Rather than having a turbo that's going to burn more fuel, or batteries that add more weight, or anything like that.
I seem to remember, I think it was the year that Lewis Hamilton was in GP2. I'm pretty sure those GP2 cars had ground effect, and that was in 2006. And that GP2 season was absolutely fantastic. So much wheel-to-wheel racing, and it was so close, and I just wish that had carried over to Formula 1.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I've just noticed something, and that is Front Row Racing DP down in 13th place. He has pitted. I believe he started the race on the option tyres, and he is now running around on the prime, so he did pit early. Now I don't know whether he got damage in a bit of a collision earlier on with what I think it may have been Mornay, but he is only running 21 seconds. Sorry, it's just changed. 41 seconds behind the leaders now.
Right, and Temp Fear is just coming out of the pit lane, so we'll be able to see the gap between him and DP. Temp Fear was running up at the front. It's just running around turn 1.
It's pretty much the whole length of that straight. Because DP now is heading into turn 1, so there you go. That's the gap that DP is going to have to try and reel in during this race. Now, if any driver in the league can do it, DP can. We'll come back to him later on. That's my curse.
And Dan Evans, they look to be losing grip rapidly. There's a lot of corrections on the steering wheel from Bartman on traction.
If you've done 2 hot flying laps in qualifying, these tyres will have had enough. They will be ready for bed. They have had enough at this stage. That's why I said lap 5 or 6 if you were planning a 3-stopper. 7 or 8.
This is always nightmare scenario. You want to go for an overtake, but you know you want to pit as well. Is it worth it? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. You could easily lose so much more time here than what's necessary. Bartman locking up, almost catching the rear of Dan Evs there. And Dan Evs into the pits, is he?
Get it in the pit lane.
And Bartman goes for another lap. And we've got a Ferrari in the pits. Let's just see if that was Jamie James. Jamie James is in the pits now, so it was over Dykink. So
yeah,
it's hammer time. Where is it's hammer time? Is just leaving the pits now, so that's currently, he is in third place after his pit stop. So the drivers ahead of him is GT5 King and Bartman. GT5 King still yet to pit. And
with Temp Fear doing the undercut, he's jumped back in front of Overdykink, which will frustrate Overdykink, but Overdykink is now on the hard tyre.
I'm just looking at
P5.
Temp Fear's on the hard tyre as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, with them both being on the hard tyre, does that make it, with you being on a harder tyre, does that make it more difficult to overtake? Or is it the same because the guy you're driving against is also on the hard tyre?
I think it's pretty much even Stevens in this situation.
See, because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me and the way my brain works. Because it's a tyre that's got less grip, it's more difficult to drive that car to its limit. So it's going to be more difficult to try and make an overtake. If you see my point.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think a lot of it can be psychological though. You sort of think, oh, it's a harder tyre, it's not giving me as much grip, and really you should think, well, they're on exactly the same tyre in front of me. Yeah, I've got a touch more understeer because of the dirty air, but should be the exact same scenarios. He's probably gaining through 130R. Temp Fear's just gone a touch wide. Overdykink's nailing that final chicane.
I mean, anytime you're following someone around here, you can save fuel. I wouldn't say it's a fuel-thirsty circuit, but it's a circuit where
we've got side-by-side action, and DP's had to go off-circuit side-by-side once again with Jamie James. Jamie James is loving getting side-by-side with people through that final chicane.
He's having a few hugs this evening, is he?
Yeah, he might be getting another one soon with DP snapping at his heels.
I mean, the points between Jamie James and Front Row Racing DP in the Drivers' Championship at the moment, just looking, Front Row Racing DP is on 173. Jamie James is on 140. So only 33 points between them.
GT5 King and Jason, absolutely. Oh, we've got another two cars in front. Duo Finn and Bartman. Bartman's just done an epic move. GT5 King's just done an epic move up the inside of Jason as well. Positions changing left and right.
I'll tell you what, because we've had quite a few pitters, and we've had guys changing from options to primes, and some guys going back out on the options. At this point, it would be a good idea for us to just run through the order, just to keep an eye on who's where. So it's Hammer Time is in first, Temp Fear second.
And he's on primes.
Yeah. So we've got Overdykink in third on primes as well. Dan Evans in fourth on the options, so he'll be looking to make progress at this point in time. Bartman has come out on the primes. He did pit quite late, so he might be trying the two-stopper.
GT5 King's going for a move on some options against
on the inside of Duo Finn. Where is he? Duo Finn's just run a little wide. So Duo Finn in now in 7th place with GT5 King in 6th. Jason in 8th on the option tyres. Jamie James in 9th on primes. Front Racing DP in 10th on primes. Konzo in 11th on the prime tyres. Mornay in 12th on the option tyres. Killer Cork in 13th on the option tyres. But I tell you what, they're all pretty close together considering.
Ooh, yeah,
from
DP's harassing the back of Jamie James.
From first to 14th, 13th, 14th, whatever, I can't remember how many positions there are now. But yeah, from first to last, they are pretty much just over the start-finish straight and the last chicane. That's about how far apart they are. As it's Hammer Time was heading into turn 1, yeah, the last car was just about to enter the last corner. So yeah, very tight. A lot can happen yet.
If I was Overdykink in this situation, stuck behind Temp Fear, I'd think, right, he's done the undercut on me. I'll do the same to him later on. Start saving some fuel when I'm in the slipstream. So with the benefit of the tow around here, especially coming up to 130R, you might as well do a bit of fuel saving. Wait until you go back onto the options and turn that mix up.
Yeah, I mean, there's two different things he could do here, because is he going to go for the 2-stop or 3-stop, because if he 2-stops, one of his options could be to do prime, so he could get an undercut done, run onto the primes again. That is an option. No, it's a prime, but it's a it's a strategy that could work.
Apologies to cut you off. DP, I think he's just done an epic move on Konzo. Konzo's had to tech to the escape road to avoid a collision there, and DP's now hunting down Duo Fin down the start-finish straight. I think he's going to get this move made. Here we go, into turn 1. Easy peasy there for DP.
It's nice when you can go up against drivers that have got a bit of peripheral vision, bit of road sense, bit of understanding of where you may be in relation to them.
We're not having to go at any individual drivers, are we?
No. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. There's a few out there that don't seem to pay attention.
What is those things that fall off trees? Little green things with a little brown cup underneath them.
Slugs?
No, it grows on a tree and it falls off. Oh, acorns. That's what they are.
Oh yeah.
Right, anyway, moving on. So front row racing DP up to 8th. He is only now 21 seconds behind the leader, so he is beginning to pull that in. It will be interesting to see what he can do towards the end of the race.
I've got some bad news for our McLaren fans.
Oh, go on.
Konzo's lost his front wing.
Oh no, that's not good at all. But it might put him in an interesting battle with
he's got on the steer. He's losing heaps of time. I'm just watching him coming up to Spoon, and this is going to be an absolute disaster around Spoon.
Overdykink's getting pretty close to the back of Temp Fear. It's going to be worth keeping an eye on these two for a moment.
Yeah, I think this is closest battle on the circuit, and probably Overdykink really, if he wants to take revenge, as he so-called says, he needs to get this move done and pull as many points on Temp Fear as he possibly can.
Yeah,
and I mean, Hammertime's not running away with this. He's only a couple of seconds in front.
Overdykink's looking even more closer now than he was at the start of this sector. I mean, I know that they bunch up on the slower parts of the circuit, but I think he's getting himself ready here for an overtake.
Yeah, we're heading towards Spoon. He wants to try and get Temp Fear out of position, but we know Temp Fear. He don't get intimidated lightly. Right, here we go. He's getting in the slipstream. But Temp Fear, that looks like that manor that's a rocket on the straight. Look at the distance Temp Fear took out, at least 3-4 car lengths. I think Overdykink slapped the downforce on for this circuit.
He might well have done. It is a circuit where we do tend to see a bit of rain. We've not heard anything yet from the engineers about any weather that might be coming in, but it does look like it's going to be quite a warm event. So yeah, maybe we didn't need that extra bit of wing. But just we've had a reply on question of the day from Mr. Hindle, and he thinks less detail on the front wing to reduce dirty air. Yep, I'd have to agree.
Yeah, now I would be quite happy if the FIA gave the teams a standard wing. Said you can do what you want with the rest of the car, but the front wing is a standard one.
Yeah.
I know a lot of drivers and a lot of people get annoyed with it, but you know, I think it would it'd force the engineers to come up with better solutions to create downforce.
Oh, bit of a tap there, love tap from Overdykink to Temp Fear. Bit of a get a move on. Temp Fear, sorry, not Temp Fear. Overdykink does look quicker through the second sector, where there's a few more higher speed bends, lower speed bends, rather than the straights. I mean, now Temp Fear, you get up to the high speed bits, and he's pulled it back out again. Yeah,
he's definitely running more downforces Overdykink through Spoon, who just closed in, but this is the point now. Oh, he's actually got a bit of slipstream now as Overdykink, so even though that high downforce is working, look at how much speed he's taking through 130R. He's looking for a little sniff, but Temp Fear's not defending fresh air. Very smart.
He positioned his car perfectly in the middle of the road there to basically say, whichever way you go, I've got you covered. And he definitely did. Now, Overdijking, can he do anything down into turn 1? I don't think he can.
It's too far, no.
I mean, down there, you've got the DRS, but he can't do it.
Yeah, he needs to harass him in the corners and let Temp try see if he makes a mistake.
Yeah, I think with that back straight up to the 130R, it's such a long straight that the slipstream really starts to take effect. And if there's anything you could try and do to Formula 1 cars to help with overtaking, it would be to try and do something that would help with the slipstreaming, so that it would be more of a bonus. I know that the DRS does, but it just doesn't do it enough, doesn't do it early enough.
Overdijking's close. If anything, the last lap was a dress rehearsal. I think he knows if he gets close enough through 130R, he's going to have to do him into the final chicane. Try and get him out of position into Spoon, and then keeping the slipstream through here, which is what he's doing. He's keeping so close to the back. Oh, he's had a swapper on though.
This is
close enough.
Yeah,
it's
very similar.
And yeah, he's just lost all his momentum through Spoon. He had a bit of a swapper on halfway through.
Yeah, it was these two that were battling for first and second last week, whereas it's for second and third this week. But yeah, Overdijking's not even in a position to attack this final chicane, but that may put him in a better position for turn 1, because he's not out of shape, because he's a lot closer now. Temp's gone for the pits. Yeah, I was just wondering about that on that previous lap. It is early for primes, but maybe he's covering Overdijking from going for the undercut. Is prevent Overdijking from going for an undercut. But what does that do to his strategy?
I think he's going to be doing a 3-stop. I think Overdijking's going to try and do a 2.
Yeah, I mean, here's a question for guys and girls, do apologise, watching us on YouTube. What is the best strategy around here? Would you run a 2-stop? Would you run a 3-stop? Are the primes good enough to do a good 2-stop? Or would you do a 3-stop with lots of short stints? So Tempfear, it was in the pits on the previous lap. Just have a quick look through the order. We've got Danevs and Bartman in third and fourth. Third and fourth. Got confused then. Jamie James in 6th. Tempfear has come out in 7th place with Mornay behind him. Front Racing DP in 9th place. What tyres is he on? He has now gone back onto the option tyres, so he has pitted twice already. So I don't know if any of those were for damage.
Yeah, DP's he's going to have to make this move as quick as possible, get past Mornay.
I think he's got it done already.
Mornay has just given up. Mornay has just said, you know what, forget it.
Well, Mornay's race really isn't against DP. No offence to Mornay, he is a driver that is fast, is Mornay. He's not had the time to put the practice in this season, and he is a few tenths off DP's lap time, and it's very difficult to keep up with somebody like DP. So instead of trying to battle him, you are better off just saying, okay, go past and I'll try and get a bit of slipstream, and it might help my lap times if I try and stick with you. So looking a bit further down the order, yeah, Konzo is in 12th place, so Killer Corkin was in 11th, Konzo 12th, Jason in 13th place on the prime tyres. Back up at the front we've got It's Hammer Time still running around on his prime tyres. Overdijking on the primes, he's not pitted yet. He's probably going to be running, if he's not pitted, to cover that undercut. I would be thinking then he's going to try and go for a 2-stop. Yeah, quite possibly going for a 2-stop.
But the lap times, I'm wondering what lap times the Hammer Time and Overdijking are knocking in now, because Overdijking's exactly 5 seconds behind. I'll see the gap to Tempfear. Tempfear's only 22 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, and just to give you some idea of the lap times, if you're running around with reasonably heavy fuel on worn prime tyres like Overdijking, because at the moment you're probably going to be doing 37s, 137s, maybe even 138s. If you're on fresh options, you're going to be doing 34s. So it's a massive difference, massive difference. So Overdijking needs to time it where he's going to benefit by not losing out on enough time that, I'll try and say this right without doing my Murrayisms, he's got to not lose the same amount of time as it would have taken him to do an extra pit stop. So we do have, sorry, go on.
We've got Jeremy James, Bartman, and GT5 King, all within about 5 seconds of each other, and Temp Fear in P6 is coming up behind him at a vast rate of knots, but he needs to make sure that he breezes past these as quick as possible, as DP sets the fastest lap of 1:36.
Yeah, and talking about fastest laps last season, the Front Racing World Championship lap record was a 1:35.4, but it was overcast conditions, so I don't know whether that makes any difference. But yeah, those lap times all starting to tumble at this stage of the race, with the fuel starting to burn off. We're just looking, we've got 10 laps to go, so at this point you could stick an extra set of primes on and go from here to the end.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Temp Fear is just closing in now on Jeremy James and GT5 King. They've dropped off a fair chunk from Bartman actually in the past lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Temp Fear's locking on to the back of Jeremy James now. Is Jeremy James going to play the team game? He knows that Overdykink's in the race with him. Jeremy James isn't really racing Temp Fear, but he could help his teammate out by making that Ferrari as wide as possible. But then again, does he want to help his teammate? No, he don't. He's jumping in the pit lane.
He has, and the car ahead of him went in for the pits as well. Just saying, on strategies, Mr. Hamilton
the leader that was Hammer Time has just been breezed past by Temp Fear. But is Hammer Time going to the end? Is Hammer Time going to the end, and is Temp Fear going to have to do another stop?
Well, in theory, it's Hammer Time 44 can go to the end from here as DP's lap times start to reduce. I think DP's probably got another pit stop to do yet, yeah, Temp Fear's that undercut is massive, absolutely massive, but he has got another pit stop to do. I don't think he'll be taking those tyres to the end.
But he's do we happen to know how long it takes to get in, change your tyres and get out?
It's about 23 seconds on this circuit.
Right, 23 seconds. About 4 laps ago he pitted. He's now 12 seconds behind Overdykink that he was neck and neck with.
Yeah.
So in the past 4 laps he's took at least 12 seconds out.
Well, one thing we were working on in practice, I don't know whether I should say this, as a lot of World Series drivers do listen into these YouTube streams. One of the things we were working on in practice with DP was the sort of time you can lose by trying to do a two-stopper. While your tyres are going off and someone's on clean, hot, fresh tyres and catching you up, how many laps would it take for them to catch you up? With the tyres still, because your tyres are still going to degrade, they're not going to be fresh all the way to the end of the race. And you need, I think it's something like 16 seconds and 6 laps. So basically you can catch a 16-second gap up within 6 laps.
Temp Fear's going for the move on Batman, up the inside. Done, absolutely breezed past Batman then. And now he's got a hunt down Overdykink, but Overdykink is staying out. I think Overdykink's thinking to himself, right, got Temp Fear coming up behind me. He's probably going to pit again and go for another set of options. If I pit any earlier, I'm going to have to go to a set of primes. So he knows he's going to have to stretch these prime tyres out, because I think he's going to want to cover whatever Temp Fear does and stick on a set of options at the end.
Overdykink's tyres look absolutely shot, and I don't know if you remember what happened to his tyres at the end of the race last season. But yeah, he got a puncture on the last lap last season, and he's not going to want that to happen again. So maybe he's aware and he's remembered what laps are going to be best for him to pit on. But his tyres look absolutely shot. Just to talk about strategies, Mr. Hamilton 44, who's one of our reserve drivers, he thinks a great strategy would be to start on the prime tyres, get them out of the way early, and do a 3 stops. So that's what he would think is a great strategy, quite possibly. Other than that, 2 stops, possibly the fastest if you're starting on the option tyres. So if you start on the primes, 3 stop. If you start on the options, 2 stop.
Overdyking, the race leader, is into the pit lane.
So where do you think he's going to come out? 10th Fear's going past the pits already.
I'd say where DP is. DP and P6, I think it's going to be fighting him and Dan Evs.
Let's have a look for DP then and see where we can.
I think. Yeah, no, he's already at pit exit, so let's see. Yeah, Dan Evs is just coming down the pit lane. I think he's just going to jump out in front of Dan Evs. Yeah, just in front of this battle. It's going to be close. Just in front. No, that was close, but I think Overdyking, he's now on the options. He needs to make sure he's got a decent outlap, because if he knows that 10th Fear is going to probably pit, he wants to be in front of him.
Yeah, and 10th Fear, if you're going to be sticking another set of options on, he could have probably done it that lap or maybe the next lap, but I don't think Overdyking could have gone much further on his prime tyres.
10th Fear could go another 2 laps and then have a massive push with 5 laps to go on a set of options, but it's a risk. At
this point, Overdyking is going to be gaining on 10th Fear, so I think 10th Fear trying to do any more laps on the tyres he's got may just not work. He needs to pit now and put the fresh tyres on now.
Hammer Time might have just done the master stroke going to a set of primes, because
yeah, that's what I was saying.
He's not far behind 10th.
Yeah, quite often going option prime might be the right way of going. But we might have a move for an overtake here with Dan Evs and front racing DP.
Going DP's up these. Oh, that is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Did you see DP cut the corner?
I saw Dan Evs not looking his mirrors there.
They both hadn't entered the pits, and GT5 Kings retired from the session. What's happened there? Because that could quite possibly be a race over because of terminal damage. So that would be interesting to find out. I know somebody that is probably going to be in contact with him is his race engineer. If she could let us know what has happened there to GT5 King, that would be great.
Yeah. Wow. I'm wondering I wonder what's going on in 10th Fear's mind right now. He's currently leading the race. Got Hammer Time on a set of primes. It's going to go to the end, 5 seconds behind him. And then he's got Overdyking on a set of options, and he's only 15 seconds behind. So he knows if he pits, he ain't going to win. Is he going to try and stay out?
I don't think he can. I don't think he can make those tyres go long enough, go far enough. If he'd have put the prime on when he came in, then yeah, it would have been a good call. But I think he came in on, what was it, lap 15? So that's
I think if he wanted P2, he needed to pit when Overdyking did.
Yep, I'd have to agree. I mean, the person that's in prime position at the moment it's Hammer Time.
He's in.
Because
he's in now.
Okay, so we're on board with Overdyking, who is just round the 130R, heading into the chicane.
Sorry to butt in. We've got Bartman on Jamie James, side by side, heading through 130R. Heading into the final chicane now. Bartman just backed out of it. He's trying to make Jamie James get out of position on traction.
Overdyking has got traction now.
Yeah, I thought that were going to be easy, but look at Bartman now on Jamie James. Up the inside, I think this is going to be breezing. Oh, cutting in front. That was very close from Bartman. I wouldn't have been impressed from that if I were Jamie James, because any closer and that would have been Jamie James' front wing just flying off into the crowd.
Yeah, I don't think Jamie James would have been too appreciative of that move there. It was a little bit too close for comfort. Obviously, Bartman does have a right to return to the racing line to use it for braking, but as long as he's far enough ahead of the car, I think he may have just marginally been.
Yeah, it was any closer and you'd be classed as being slightly cut up there.
Well, we've had news from the engineer for GT5 Kings, race engineer, but unfortunately she's not in contact with him today because she's at a friend's house watching. So there we go.
I think 10th Fear's still in for the win here. We've got Got 5 laps to go.
I don't know, he's got a lot to do.
Overdijking is closing in on hammer time. And Temp Fear's on the freshest tyres, and Temp Fear is only...
Do you know what? What was it I said, actually, when I was saying with me and DP were doing something in practice? If you've got a 16 seconds gap to catch up, you need 6 laps to do it. If they're on old prime and you're on new options.
And Temp Fear's got 5 laps, and it's 14 seconds to the lead.
It's possible. But if that's possible for Temp Fear, it's also possible for Overdijking, who is now only 9 seconds behind the leader.
But I'm looking at hammer time though. The one thing that's putting me off from saying that Temp Fear's in for the win here is he's just super consistent. No squirms on traction. It just looks like he's out for a Sunday drive.
Only it's not Sunday, but yeah. I mean, Temp Fear's not. Temp Fear looks.
Actually,
just gonna say.
Time's just had a bit of a nightmare in the spoon.
Temp Fear just took a whole second out of the leader in one sector.
Yeah.
And that's what he needs to be doing to bring that gap down. He needs to be bringing that gap down at least a second a sector if he can. Almost a second a sector, but he has got a car ahead of him. I think it's Jason getting blue flags. But that is going to help him with a bit of slipstream up the back straight. But I think it's all going to come together. It's nicely moved out of the way there. Hopefully he doesn't receive a penalty for moving out of the way. Overdijking 7.7 behind the leader. Temp Fear, what's it going to change to as he goes over the line? 12.5 behind the leader.
So 4 laps to go.
Come on then, guys, give us your bets. Who's going to do what? I think
he's still closing in hammer time. It's down to 7 seconds at the moment.
Yeah, I just want to have a good lap. Sorry, a good look at its hammer time's tyres. His front right, it's not graining too bad.
Sorry, we've got side-by-side action with DP and Dan Evs in turn 1, and DP has shown Dan Evs how it's done. When you overtake, you leave a bit of space, and DP is through now.
So that's brought him from the rear of the grid at the start of the race because of his qualifying ban. Currently up to 6th place, 32 seconds behind the leader. How far up the road is the next car that he's got to get? It's James. Oh, he's got a good 15 seconds. Yeah, it's a big gap that. But James is on the primes, and that gap could come down, but will it come down enough with the amount of laps that we've got left? Bartman running in 4th place on the options. Hang on, it just jumped Temp Fear then. There we go. Temp Fear now 12 seconds behind the leader, with Overdijking 7 seconds. So Overdijking now has got to that point where he's not really catching. Yeah,
he's plateauing now.
Because he pitted those few laps earlier, he's not got that advantage of the fresh rubber to catch as quickly. So he's still only 7.2 seconds, and Temp Fear has just set the fastest lap, and now that is going to raise the eyebrows of Overdijking. So
there may be he may need to change his underwear after this.
Temp Fear in one lap.
The last couple of laps he's going to be under too much pressure, and he's going to have hardly any grip left.
Temp Fear took out over 2.5 seconds in one lap there. So yeah, just under 3 laps to go, and 10 and 11 seconds sounds like a lot, but when you're on different compounds and different tyre life, anything can happen.
But as we saw when Overdijking was on them primes on the last couple of laps, the drop off was massive. And that's hammer time at the moment. He's being consistent, but if he has one lap of slight inconsistency, he's actually gone. He's struggling round Spoon like mad. So all it takes is for them tyres to go over the cliff, and the right, both rears are looking a bit shocking, as you can see the colour of them's change. He's locking his rears, and maybe he's got his brake bias at the rear, and it's Not doing his rears any favours. He's braking, he's putting the pressure through the rears, and then as he's accelerating, he's putting pressure through the rears.
Yeah, just to respond to a couple of people on YouTube, Mads Sorensen, yep, take a note that you can't make Friday because you've got a football match. Yep, that's been taken note of. Hybrid Nuke wants Hammer Time to win. John THFC, I'm assuming that's Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He thinks penalties will decide this. That's a good point, you know. That is a very good point. I'm not going to make bets anymore. Did that last time and then Don made big mistake. So that's Dom's missus. When she thought Dom was going to win, he then lost his front wing. Yeah. You should have said you think Temp Fear is going to win.
Never bet on red.
Yeah, and Hybrid Nuke thinks Hammer Time might be able to do it. Well, it's going to be close. Yeah. What are those gaps?
I think Hammer Time's got enough of a gap. I think the position we're going to see, if it's going to change, it's going to be between Temp Fear and Overdyking. It's going to be on the last lap, because we're on lap 26 of 27. And Temp Fear is closing in. Yeah,
I think Overdyking's tyres now are just struggling that little bit too much, and he can't get that gap to come down enough. Temp Fear is the only one with the fresh, you know, he's got fresh tyres all the way to the checkered flag, and he can see Overdyking clearly ahead of him now. And when you've got that car ahead of you, I don't know what it is, but it's so much easier to chase somebody down than it is to be chased.
I think what's going to help as well is Temp Fear earlier in a straight line. We saw that he had clearly way more pace than Overdyking in a straight line, but he was losing out in the corners. But I think it's going to equalise because Temp Fear's now got better grip in the corners because he's got fresher tyres.
Yep.
But yeah, he's still got epic straight line speed. So if he's going to do it though, it's going to happen this lap. So here we go, final lap of the race.
If it's going to happen,
P2.
If it is going to happen, it's going to be this lap, isn't it? It can't be any later. But Temp Fear is just catching up corner after corner.
This is class, and we know Overdyking, he's not afraid of making that Ferrari as wide as possible.
If you're Temp Fear, where would you make the move?
Now.
No. You mean like your overtake on DP last season?
Exactly. Never expecting that.
I don't think anybody would expect that.
Me. Yeah. He's got to be smarter than me as Temp, and I'm sure he is smarter than me as he's running away with this championship so far.
I mean, these two are getting extremely close together, but one thing I don't want to miss, unfortunately, is it's Hammer Time. I just want to keep an eye on him, because if he is going to win this race, I do want to see him over the line. Yeah. Because it's Hammer Time now, is at the 130R, and he has had a great race from start to finish. It did look like it was going to be a difficult one for him.
The move is going to happen, the move's going to happen. Here comes Temp Fear into the final chicane, over the inside of Overdyking. Overdyking's gone off and smacked into the wall.
And Temp Fear has got it, and unfortunately we've missed it. It's Hammer Time, but we saw the overtake.
Hammer Time, it had to happen though. That was class.
But we'll take this moment just to say well done to It's Hammer Time 44 for taking that win, making those primes last as well as they did at the end. It did look like it was going to be a lot tighter, but Temp Fear took second place on the circuit with Overdyking in third place. Now we do know that penalties could play a big part, and James, if you could, on your screen now, if you were to press the pause button, you can go to the race director and have a little look. Don't tell me don't tell me how much penalties, but just say yes or no if certain drivers have penalties. So, do the top three have any penalties?
I can see a lot of warnings. I don't know if any... Oh, hang on now. Oh, we've got a 3-second one for DP. We've got a 3-second one for Temp Fear.
Ooh.
So that could go back to Overdyking.
It could quite, yes.
3 seconds for Bartman. 3 seconds... Oh, another 3 seconds for Temp Fear. I think Overdyking may be still in with P2. Yeah,
quite possibly.
That's it.
Now, with these penalties, they are penalties that if they were given for, say, illegal overtake penalties, but there we go anyway. Yep. It's Hammer Time is on top step. with Overdyking second.
Yeah. It was a fantastic battle through that. Suzuka can sometimes be a bore fest, but that was brilliant.
Yeah, well done to Mr. Hamilton. No, not Mr. Hamilton. It's Hammer Time. I always get them confused. Mixed up when they were racing against each other last week. Extremely difficult. But yeah, it's Hammer Time 44 takes the win. And yep, much well deserved win there. And hopefully this will mean he'll now be going over onto his wheel and starting to enjoy that. But there we go, there are the penalties on the board, and what that means is 10th Fear does drop down to 3rd place, but what those penalties are for, we're not exactly sure. We may find out. It may mean he stays in that 3rd place, but it was a great overtake into that final corner. But everything that's happened on the circuit today is provisional until everyone's had a look at each other's footage, and then they can report it if necessary to the Front Row Racing race directors, and additional penalties may be applied if there was some driving that wasn't quite up to standard, according to the Front Row Racing Stewards Guides, which you can watch on YouTube. So, James, if you could please find It's Hammer Time, Overdyking and 10th Fear and invite them into the chat party. If you don't have them on your friends list, let me know.
Yeah, I don't believe I'll have It's Hammer Time.
Okay, in that case, I will have to put a blue screen up very briefly and suggest him. I'll do that in a moment once we get through to the next screen, because I want to just take this moment to say to the people that are watching, you are able to ask the top 3 on the podium. Top 3 on the podium? Of course they're on the podium, they're in the top 3. The podium drivers, you're able to ask them questions. All I would ask you to do when you're asking a question is to put at WC, so at World Championship, at WC, and then write your question, and we will get it asked to the drivers. So if you could invite the 2 in that you can, which is 10th Fear and Overdyking. Sorry for the blue screen briefly. I shall suggest it's Hammer Time 44, and you want 10th Fear as well, did you say? Yeah, there we go. I have suggested both of those to you. I can now come back to the normal screen and we shall find, so yeah. So while we're waiting, feel free to ask the drivers questions. Also, if there are any other drivers that wish to make comment, please let us know on the YouTube, or send me a Facebook chat message, and let me know what happened during your race. I've already got the one from GT5 King, so we shall come to those towards the end. I've noticed that we do have Overdyking come into the lobby. Do we have anybody else in the chat party at the moment?
Yeah, I thought that before, sorry, it's very unprofessional, but I thought there was a thing saying suggested players.
Yep, there is.
I cannot.
When you click on the invite or near the invite, it should have a suggested underneath it.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Apologies for that. I think the layout's changed since I last up. There we go, it's set now.
Yeah. What I would suggest, James, because we may end up with one of these 3 on the podium again.
Yeah, I'll get them set up on the friends list.
Get them on your friends list, why not?
Hey guys, it's surely crowded in here, isn't it?
I know, overly crowded. Definitely. Not just crowded, it's overly crowded.
Gotta play it words.
Never. So we're just waiting on It's Hammer Time and 10th Fear to join us. They should have received their invites. They should be with us shortly. Yeah, Dom, if you could make sure you're set to share, so we can hear it on the broadcast. I'm sure it is already, because you know the what to do's.
It is, but I almost forgot because it's been so long since I've been on the podium, innit? So
yeah, get a nosebleed from being up here.
Used to the podium interviews again.
Yeah, well, here we are. We've got 10th Fear in now. Hello. Make sure you got your microphone set to shared.
Yeah.
Oh, we're still waiting on the race winner. He's still drinking his champagne.
Yeah, he's too cool for a chat room.
Too busy sending messages in the YouTube chat. That's what it is.
He's probably there screaming his head off. And his brother's probably beating him up.
He's just wrote another message in the YouTube chat. All right, not Mr. Hamilton. It's Hammer Time 44. Please come and join the podium chat. Otherwise, we shall progress without you, even though you won the race. Your invites have been sent. Should we start without him? Should we just say sod it?
I think we should start. Yeah, let's go P2.
Oh, he's just said no invites come through yet. So if you could just drop him another one.
Yeah, it's definitely been sent. It's definitely been sent.
James, have you got a cold, mate?
Yeah, I got jet lag, cold, bad back. I've got it all.
Yeah, you can still hear it, pal.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been sent.
Guys, sorry to interrupt, but you all need to make sure you've got It's Hammer Time on your friends list so that he can get into the chat party.
Oh, is it like that now, is it? So
yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so that was Front Racing DP coming to say hello. So with the chat parties now, we need to make sure that the person entering is on everyone's friends list. So, yeah. It's Hammer Time. You need to accept James's friend request when he sends it. And
yeah, because I don't ever have Temps a friend, but it's gone through him, so that's strange.
I'll try and send him an invite, guys. Oh wait, I can't.
No, you can suggest him.
Yeah, you can only suggest. It's a joke.
Yeah, alright, that doesn't work then.
Okay, well, while we're letting James deal with that and getting It's Hammer Time in, what we'll do is we'll move on to second place on the podium, which was Overdyking. So, been some time, Overdyking, since you've been on the podium. How did your race go?
It was alright, I suppose. It wasn't too bad. Well, yeah, ultimately we wanted to win this race, especially with Kev out and Dave being at the back for the qualifying. Now we got pole. That was exactly the target. And from there it went a bit wrong. Got a bad start and then did an ETL somewhere in about like the end of the first lap, and then I nearly ran into the back of Hammer Time. Very lucky it ghosted me for him and as well for me. And from that point it became very difficult because Temp obviously got past, and we took a few laps to get back past Temp again. Then he went for the undercut, so it was the same problem all over again.
Now,
Hammer Time was pulling away, and a fantastic race by him anyway. Congratulations. Yeah, but it was an alright race, but it's not what we wanted basically.
Yeah, so It's Hammer Time has just joined. Jimmy will come to you shortly, just bear with us because we've just moved on to Dom. So yeah, Overdyking then. So with your strategy, did you change your strategy at all because of what Temp Fear did, or was you always going to run that strategy?
No, I changed it during the race. I was actually going to go for the same strategy Jimmy went for. Running a prime sim at the end, and then I switched it because I knew from last season that I had this strategy on with the options at the end, and at that point it really worked well, and it didn't today. So I switched it last minute, but yeah, shouldn't have done.
So do you think if you hadn't have switched it, you might have had more of a chance of taking the victory then?
More of a chance, but I mean Jimmy brought perfectly. So I would have had more of a chance, but whether it would have worked, I don't know.
I mean, something we were talking about during the race was whether Temp Fear and yourself really need to worry about It's Hammer Time, because he's not really in your battle. Yes, that's where the maximum points are, but it's more about taking points off each other rather than what It's Hammer Time's doing. So did that play on your mind a little bit about, you know, you can kind of leave him to win the race if you wanted to?
Sorry again, can you hear you? Interrupted.
So yeah, was it on your mind that you could actually just leave It's Hammer Time to do what he needed to do because his points to him were not relevant to you?
At some point it did, obviously, yeah, because I saw Temp coming closer with this 3-stop strategy.
Yeah.
So yeah, at a certain point, like in the last, like, I don't know, 5 laps, I was aware of that Temp was catching us, and I was aware of that Hammer Time was quite far ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, we were catching Hammer Time, but it obviously wouldn't be enough to catch him up fully. So from that point, the focus went to Temp Fear.
Okay, last question from me, and then we're going to move on. We may come back to you in a moment from people on YouTube, or maybe even James as well. But last question from me is, going into turn 1, last season you were up against DP into turn 1. This season you got Temp Fear and It's Hammer Time. We didn't quite see the first apex of turn 1. We saw it at turn 2 where you were down a couple of positions by that point. Any more cautious this season, or was it just that they got a better start than you?
Hammer Time got a better drive off the line, and Temp Fear as well. Luckily I was able to keep Temp behind.
Yeah.
Luckily it didn't end last season in the first corner, so yeah, obviously I was a bit more cautious knowing what happened last season, but
yeah,
overall it was an alright race, but yeah, ultimately not what we wanted. But
well,
I can still be quite happy.
Yeah, definitely. Second place, can't really complain about that, especially when your main competitives are all behind you.
Yeah, I also knew that Temp Fear had a penalty as well, because James told me in race that his engineer told Temp had a penalty, so...
Yeah, it's useful to know. Very useful to know that. So
yeah, it was very useful to know that.
So that's why you let him past into the chicane at the end?
Didn't really let him past. I mean, I don't know what happened in the last chicane as well. From my point of view, I got hit from behind, but I'd have to see both of the footages to really say something about it.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your comments. Stay with us for now, because we may come back to you with comments from YouTube and from our other commentary team here. So, moving on to the race winner, It's Hammer Time 44. Jimmy, what do we say? I mean, apart from well done. I mean, this season we have had so many different winners in the World Championship. I mean, I'm just trying to add this up. Is this now the 8th or 9th different winner this season? I mean, this is one of the best seasons we've had for how good each driver in the league has been this season. So I just want to say well done, basically. But thinking of questions, I'm struggling to ask you a question because you just did so well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my co-commentator in at the deep end and say, James, have you got any questions for It's Hammer Time? Because he just did so great.
Yeah, I've got to say, how did you just keep up with the consistency? Have you put like tons of practice in this week, or was it just felt good with the circuit?
No, I haven't really put any practice because I've been mostly doing it on the wheel, and then I was struggling a bit in practice with the pad, and then for some reason it came to life. The prime tyre was my favourite tyre. It felt really good with the setup.
Yeah.
So that was important for the end of the race.
You ran 2 sets of primes, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but even though you're running the prime tyre, I think over Dyking, I don't know how many laps you did, but that last lap of them prime tyres looked like an absolute nightmare. And that what I was fearing for Hammer Time. I was thinking, ooh, are they going to drop off? But you just handled them absolutely spot on, and the strategy came through, and can't really ask for more, can you?
Never can't.
I mean,
there we go. I've sort of answered your question for you there.
I mean, Jimmy, the question for you from me then is, now you've seen that you can win in this league on the pad, are you going to stick with the pad to the end of the season, or are you going to commit yourself to the wheel?
It's going to be the wheel. I would have gone on the wheel had it not been for my teammate, but yeah, from now I'm going to start using the wheel, which means I'll be probably fine centre back.
I mean, as great as it can feel for taking a victory, I'm sure you will enjoy the racing at the back or in the middle just as much. Having overtakes, being overtaken, planning different strategies, rather than just trying to keep that lead. I'm sure you'll enjoy it just as much. So well done, stay with us, we'll come back to you because I'm sure we're going to have a couple of questions for you from YouTubers, so please stay with us. So moving on to Temp Fear, who finished third. Temp, question for you, did you think you had second in the bag?
I want to go back to quali first. I need to get my violin out for that as well.
Yeah, we were worried. We were thinking it was 6 minutes to go, and it was like he's going back in the pit lane and he hadn't set a lap time.
Well, I think I ended up setting 34.9 my first time or something like that. That was 2 seconds off my personal best.
Well,
So the fact no one did a 33 in quali literally just meant that whole time was worthless in my eyes.
Yeah, it was. I have to admit, because I kind of screwed up both of my laps as well.
We were surprised that we were surprised the pole time weren't quicker. We were putting it down to the conditions possibly. But yeah, Temp then. So in that last lap, obviously you knew yourself you had a couple of penalties. Was you kind of hoping that Overdyking had some, or maybe more than you?
I knew if I had one, I knew I still had a chance. When the second one came, I was a bit like, okay, I need a lot to go my way.
What were they for, if you don't mind me asking?
It was in the first sector, and I think there was 2 separate corners which I got them on different laps. I only cut that corner once, and it just instantly gave me the penalty first time round.
Oh, naughty boy.
So I've never had a penalty on any of them corners at all before.
That's what the pressure of the league does.
yeah. I usually find that the corners that you don't worry about are the corners that catch you out.
Quite often.
The ones that 99% of the time you've got no problem, and then when you're actually pushing like mad, that's when the slight little mistake or something like that can kick in the corners you haven't thought about.
Yeah, I felt that one in the stomach, alright.
Okay, so just want to try and move on a little bit. Sorry about this, but we are taking a little bit more time than I was expecting. So we're going to go back to Hammer Time then, who was the race winner. So you wheel next week. Are you going to make a prediction for your finishing position? It's Hammer Time. Your prediction for next week? Finishing position? He's already gone. He's had too much champagne.
He's drinking.
He's passed out. He's already passed out. If you're talking to us, you've got mute on. There, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've scared him off. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what then. We'll move on to the questions on YouTube. One for Hammer Time here. Hammer Time. How did you think your race was going to go before the race? So we'll ask him that if he does come back in. We've got one here. ER has just joined us. I'll ask him that in a minute. But one for Temp Fear. Temp. Great drive. Unfortunate for the penalties, but did you expect such a battle from Dom today?
Well, I didn't expect any battles, if I'm honest. I was hoping just to disappear, then drive off into the sunset. But
Yeah, guess what I was hoping as well.
Quali went against me. So from then on, I knew I was going to be involved in some sort of battle. The first 2 stints, I was just like, Dom was right up behind me, just nagging me again, like last week. And I was just dropping into lean at certain parts and whatnot, same as fuel, because I knew my race was coming in the last 2 stints. which he did, just not to a great enough effect, unfortunately.
Yeah. Question for Dom. First off, it says well done. Then it says, do you think anything could have been changed to help gain an advantage on temp today? Maybe less wing?
No, the setup was alright actually. I changed it last minute though. But the setup felt really good. Had really good control of the car. But what I should have done to gain more of an advantage is stuck with my original strategy. Go for the prime in lap 17.
Yeah.
I think I would have had a bigger buffer, just as Hammer Time did. So that's what I should have done. But I've got second anyway. I mean, I should be happy.
Yeah, you should be happy.
That's
Definitely. So moving on to it's Hammer Time. If he doesn't jump out and frightened of me question, I'm going to ask him. What's your prediction for your finishing position next week then, with you being on a wheel?
Out of points, possibly.
Ooh. Well, I think you can. No, I think you can be in the points. I think you should be aiming to be at least in the points, and I think you can do it. I really do. You may not be on your pace that you're on the pad, but I think you'll find you'll be quick enough. Another question for you.
Okay.
This is off somebody on YouTube. How do you think this race was going to go before the race?
I didn't think to be up near the front because I had reasonable pace, but I knew that Temp had really more pace than me. But I'm happy that I got the win.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, so just having a look through quickly, see if we can see any other questions on here. I don't think we have. I think we're all wrapped up with that. So thank you very much for your top three. We appreciate your comments and joining us for a chat. And good luck to the three of you for next week. Thank you. And while you three make your way from the chat party, I shall just have a look through some of the drivers' comments here that didn't manage to finish the race. It was GT5 King. He caught the curb and it spat him off at the 130R. What was it? The 120R, as he says it. That's where you're going wrong. Wrong radius, Rian. Okay.
Alright, oh my gosh.
Right, looking through some of the drivers' comments, DP, he did finish the race. He said got rammed off into the final chicane lap 1, hit off lap 4, then rammed off again in the final chicane on lap 8, and got given a corner cut penalty for it. So didn't go according to plan at all there. Oh, more comment from DP. I was up to 6th and 7th before the first crash. Not sure about the win, but would have been a lot closer.
Yeah, we did see that move with Dan Evans and DP down at turn 1, and down at turn 1 when you got the DRS open and you committed to turn 1, DP did have his at least his front wheel alongside Dan Evans' rear wheel, and it was very close to like an epic 2-car shunt double failure there, because you're going so fast down at turn 1.
We've got a message in from Conzo, 1993 I think it is, or was it 1998, I don't know. Anyway, Connor, he says crash with Jason didn't help, just going to start practicing the next track now. Best thing to do when you have a bit of an incident, get back up on your bike and go again. So there we go. Having a little look through, do we have anything else? Bartman, James, he's asking James, was that you who took me out at the chicane twice?
No,
so maybe not you, no, a different James, Jammy James possibly. Yeah, well there we go. So a very interesting race there, and I'm pretty sure the race director is going to have plenty to do this week, because sounds like a few comings together, but it's a sort of circuit that does tend to
we
favour
did say
that.
It's very much single file, and it's more about waiting for the car in front to make a mistake.
And quite often at Suzuka it comes down to strategy, as we did see towards the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It were cracking race, so that one.
It was. At this point, James, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us after your long trip back from Australia. just for us.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Apologies, I couldn't be more alive.
Yeah, and next week, where are we? And what comes after Suzuka? Do we remember what it's? I believe it to be Russia. And shall just double check. It is.
I said to DP earlier when I thought that we'd already ran Japan. I was like, oh, Suzuka. I was like, oh, how you going in Suzuka? And he was like, mate, we're going to do Suzuka now. So then I'm like, right. I said, hey, Putin looks a bit different this week.
Yeah.
Imagine him in grandstand.
Well, it is Russia next for the World Championship, but the next for Front Row Racing will be tomorrow, which is the World Series here at Japan. I will be taking part, so you may want to come and watch. I'll show you something to have a good laugh at.
I'll come and watch my future teammate.
Hey, keep it quiet for now. Don't upset my current teammate or anyone else that's been asking. I've got a big long list, of requests. But you've got to get a seat yet, and there's no guarantee that any seats are going to be available. And I'll just say that people are wanting to join, not just to you and this, but anybody that wants to join Front Row Racing. The way of getting involved in our league is by sending a message to our Facebook page. Saying that you're interested in doing some Formula 1 racing, then we will get you involved with our Front Row Racing Fridays, which is like our feeder series. That's where a lot of drivers have come through. Temp Fear, It's Hammer Time, Stocky, there's almost half of the grid actually, to be honest with you, when you go through it. There's a lot of drivers there that have come through from the feeder series. Basically, you're racing there, show how good you are, and then get a chance of being in a reserve and taking part in the league, and eventually getting a full-time seat as long as you race within the rules. So thank you very much, everyone, and good evening and good night. Thank you very much, James.
Thank you very much, and see you all later, listeners.
See you all again soon. Bye bye.